But let me tell you a little bit about Scott Aldred as we get started here tonight. Scott is, he knows all the ins and outs for production here at Asea. He has an in-depth knowledge of how this product is created. He runs not only the operations here at Asea, but that includes associate support, our incredible associate support department, our incredible production facility. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to manage this type of operation, specifically focused on the incredible technology that is changing lives around the world. And in fact, is the reason that we have Asea athletes as well. So these two people are perfect for tonight's pairing. So let's get right into it. Scott, I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen because I want everybody to be able to see you tonight. I'm going to make sure that we can unmute your line here. Go ahead and turn on your camera if you would for us. There you are. Hey, welcome to tonight's call, Scott.
Thanks, Karen. Good to be here.
We're so excited that you would join us tonight. You are one of the busiest people at Asea. You have, I think I heard at one point you had 40% of the staff that somehow report up through you to make all of this magic happen. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we have actually the largest department in the company.
Fantastic. Well, let's start out. Scott, there's so much that happens in the Redox Center, and we love what we have referred to now, not as a production facility, not as a manufacturing facility, but the Redox Center. So what I would love to do is start out by just giving you an opportunity to tell our audience tonight a little bit about you and how you were introduced to Asea and what you love about Asea.
Thanks, Karen. Like I said, it's great to be on the call tonight. It's actually great to be in the United States. I've actually been here for a few weeks for a change. I'm normally someplace other than the United States, but it's great to be on the call tonight. And maybe just a little background on me. My background is manufacturing and distribution, specifically with dietary supplements. And believe it or not, this is my 28th year in manufacturing and distribution. So my Asea story is a little bit different probably than most, and I was highly skeptical. Maybe that's the same as many people that are on this call when I first took a look at the technology and the product. But I actually began using the product over 7 years ago and knew that there was something different there and was very intrigued by the opportunity. And let's just say we dated for a year and then we decided to get married. And so it's been almost 7 years. It's been great.
That's absolutely incredible. You know, it's so interesting when I look around and see the staff at the corporation at how long we have kept retained valuable members of the team like yourself. I can think of the companies that I've worked for in the past, and it's just really rare to see people stay at an organization for so long. And I think it's a true testament to what we're doing and kind of goes back to that mission statement about being a force for good and bettering people's lives. Now, the Redox Center is a hot tour. We offer tours of the facility on Mondays between 9 and 5, and you can come and tour this facility at any time by setting up a tour through sales@aseaglobal.com. And we absolutely love it when people come through the facility. We have seen thousands and thousands of people come through this facility, and it is absolutely one of the most conviction building tools that we have. So let's talk a little bit about the Redox Center. And as well, I want to talk to you a little bit about your team of experts that are at the Redox Center, that create this product, that test the product, that package the product, and talk a little bit about the products that we manufacture there, the technology products.
Yeah, there's actually 2 departments that are in our Redox Center. The first one is anything to do with our production. The second is all of our quality assurance that also includes research and development. So that's probably a fact that's a little bit unknown, that we continue to do research and development on the Redox products and have a live environment to do that. We do have a full-scale lab on site. So we have a biologist that also has a background in genetics that runs our lab. We, unbeknownst to most people, we have a PhD in organic chemistry on staff. Dr. Kurt Stickley started with us in February, and we do have a chemical engineer that's on our maintenance team that helps keep the facility running, and just some wonderful people with many years of experience in not just manufacturing, but operating in a very high quality manner. So what a wonderful team I have to work with.
Absolutely. And at the at the Redox Center, we own and protect our technology, which is in the Asea Redox supplement, in the Renew 28, and in the Renew Advanced Serum. Tell us a little bit about the capacity of the facility. How large is the Redox Center? When did this center get up and running?
Yeah, we opened it's been almost 6 years ago in this new facility. We've gone through a couple expansions already. We're about almost 50,000 square feet of warehouse and production operations. And we will have another expansion that will begin in September, where we'll gain another 20,000 square feet for operations. A little bit about the technology. As many of you know, this is the only place where redox signaling molecules are produced. They're at the Asea Redox Center. And one thing, Karen, that you and I talked about earlier was the difference between a patent and intellectual property. Some of the process that we use to make Asea Redox is part of a patented process. And then even more than that, a lot of it is we classify it as a trade secret or intellectual property. And so those are things that we don't have to publish, that are simply part of our protocol in making the product on site there. And it's amazing the capacity. Right now we're about 25% capacity. That's 25,000 cases of Asea Redox per week, and that's about 25% of our capacity right now as it stands. We often work 2 or 3 years in the future by specifying equipment that we need to expand, the personnel and the space. So we're currently about 3 years ahead of what we're currently selling as far as preparing for capacity. So it's something that we continue to do all the time. Last year we had a 54% increase in production, and we were able to handle that seamlessly. So it's part of the benefit of the corporation of Asea as far as controlling our supply chain. It's really a tremendous advantage.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is it an advantage for us at the center, but it goes a long way in protecting what we have. I hear a lot as I'm traveling in the field about the opportunity that someone else might take with reverse engineering because patents are public. So take a minute and help our audience understand why we are so confident at Asea that this product cannot be reverse engineered.
Yeah, you could probably look at it chemically and discover some ways to produce it. The thing that makes our process very unique is the way we process it. It's definitely unique in that fact. We have some different parts of the equipment that really do make a difference. Part of it is that electrolysis process, and that falls under our intellectual property. So the configuration of the electrodes we use, the material, the surface area, all those things are proprietary to Asea and the production of the Redox supplement. So somebody may be able to figure out how to get to the end point, but in order to get to that point, you'd have to know a lot of things that certainly are not public. Certainly something that we take great pride in protecting, and also manufacturing a very high quality product.
Not only great pride, but great lengths, right? There's a reason that there's only one place in the world that these molecules are created. And I know from what I have seen over the last 9 years at the organization, seeing the Redox Center 9 years ago to what it is today, it's absolutely incredible what you and your team have done. One of the things that's so impressive as well with the Redox Center is all the certifications. And I get this question a lot. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the certifications. And so we are NSF, FDA, halal, kosher, and UDAF. And I'd love for you, Scott, to take a minute and talk about all of those certifications, what those processes look like, feel like, and the experience that you guys have gone through to make sure that the center is so protected and operating at optimal efficiency. But I'd also love for you to talk about the difference between an FDA certified production facility and an FDA registered product. So take it away. Talk about the incredible certifications that we have.
Thanks, Karen. An FDA facility where we're actually FDA listed. And what that means is that we are listed as a manufacturer of dietary supplements with the Food and Drug Administration of the United States. There's a full list of regulations that we're required to follow. And by following those, that listing becomes public. So at any one time, at any time actually, the FDA can come in and audit our facility. In order to prepare us for those audits, we work through an agency called NSF International. And twice a year, they come in and audit our facility. One audit is 3 days. The other audit is 1 day. And what they do is they make sure we're following all good manufacturing practices as set forth in the Code of Federal Regulations for the production of dietary supplements. This past January, we had our annual audit, and we actually scored such a high score that they're going to not come back and do the second audit, and they're just going to move us to an annual audit. So that's the difference between an FDA product and an FDA facility. This listing is on the facility itself. We also just recently had a kosher audit. So once a year, we actually have a rabbi that comes to the facility and does an audit to make sure that we're following all kosher standards. And then last week, we actually had our halal audit. And the auditor actually made the comment that it was the cleanest facility he ever been in, and he actually compared it to a hospital. So very high praise from an auditor to give us that kind of remark on his official report, but it was just a victory for the quality team at Asea.
Wonderful. I know that goes a long way in creating that confidence that this facility is so highly audited, but has always passed with flying colors. And in fact, you and I were laughing the other day because you are starting to create a reputation with the Redox Center, just in the industry in general. And you go ahead and tell everybody the story that you were telling me about the phone calls that you're starting to get.
Yeah, so we were the first ones to go through this new audit by the NSF International. And so we not only have to meet all dietary supplement standards, we have to meet also all food standards. So it's quite a lengthy process. And so we've actually, because we were the first ones to go through it, the auditor's actually been telling people, if you need to prepare for the audit, you need to call Asea. And so some of our vendors and other folks in the industry, we've actually had conversations with them to prepare them for audits and really kind of our program. And we've often written their standard operating procedures or shared our standard operating procedures with some of our friends in the industry so that they can prepare and have the same quality standards that we do. So really great when they know who we are and they show up and that there's that high level of expectation.
Absolutely. Nothing but the best at Asea. We have always said it, and we continue to maintain that. So now that we've talked a little bit about the Redox Center itself and the capacity and the certifications, some people on the call tonight have very little understanding about the process of creating our supplement and this technology. Can you take a few minutes and walk us through at a very elementary level, if you will, and we always like to say, you'll answer any question as long as it doesn't violate proprietary or trademark. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about just the process itself of ingredients, where we source them, and how we get from A to Asea.
Yeah, how we get from water to Asea Redox.
It's not salt water from Salt Lake City.
That's right. It would be a good story if it was, but that's not really the way it goes. We do use the regular city water from our municipality here in Pleasant Grove. That water is tested, and we often joke if the city water supply wanted to know what was in the water, they would come to us, and we could tell them by the level of testing that we do on the water. So we have to start with municipal water. It goes through a 3-step filtration process. And what we're doing is we're taking all impurities out of the water. And I like to say we're putting water in its most unnatural state, meaning there are no minerals, there are no contaminants, there's nothing. It's straight H2O. And so the thing we're really going to pay attention to is total dissolved solids. And we're going to have about 0.03 parts per million of total dissolved solids. So you would never find water like that in nature. But we have to really make sure we start with the same thing every time. The second ingredient, like everyone knows, is sodium chloride, and it's a UPS grade. What that means is United States Pharmacopoeia, and it's tested to a very high standard. So minimum standard is 99.8% sodium chloride, no mineral contaminants. And so we know what we start with. So that's the beginning of the process. We go through that filtration. We go through a mixture with our sodium chloride. And then what's really key to the process is we need to chill. And we chill to a certain temperature before we start electrolysis. And then we hold that temperature through electrolysis. That is what actually stabilizes the molecules so we can fill it and put it in bottles and ship it all over the world. So very high level, but also with that, there's actually 68 quality control points from the time the water comes into our building until we actually finish the redox process. So very highly regulated. We call that calibration, meaning that we know what we make every single time. We test it on site. Each batch receives what we call a certificate of analysis so that we can make sure that what's on the label, redox signaling molecules, are in the bottle. And then we fill the bottles, we ship them out all over the world. And that's really the most complex part of everything, is making sure everybody has products in 19 different distribution centers globally.
Yeah, 19 different distribution centers is an incredible undertaking. But again, it goes to what Asea wants to do when it comes to protecting this incredible technology process. I was laughing when you said, it's about the chill. And I was like, you know what, nobody better than Scott chill out Aldred to be running the Redox Center. It's perfect. Now, there's a couple of things that came to mind that I would love for you to touch on as well. One of them is, we hear this a lot, is the pH balance of the product. The other is, you mentioned testing. Now, a lot of people will turn that bottle over and see basically water and salt and don't recognize the value of that little sticker or the little emblem on the back, which is BioAgilytix. So talk first about pH balance, and then if you would touch on how BioAgilytix has partnered with us, that would be great.
Yeah, that is probably something that makes the product the most unique, is the pH level of the product. During the manufacturing process, we're constantly monitoring that pH level. When the product is finished, we're probably at about 7.8, but very quickly that drops into what we call a pH neutral range of about 7.3 to 7.5. And that's where the product remains very stable at that pH level. That helps you absorb the product. And that's why if someone was going to try to reverse engineer this, they would have a very difficult time controlling the pH of the product. So something very unique to our product, something that's monitored, tested, it's measured on every batch. We do internal testing, like I talked about. We do external testing to validate our results. And then every quarter, we send samples to a laboratory in North Carolina called BioAgilytix. And what they're specifically testing for and certifying is the presence of redox signaling molecules. It's actually a $20,000 fine per label if your label is not accurate. And so when we say there's redox signaling and we put that on the bottle, we need to make sure that that's in the bottle.
Yeah, I think something that gets forgotten is how esteemed BioAgilytix is. Can you talk a little bit about who they are and what they do outside of Asea's certification?
Yeah, so that they're a very prestigious lab, and just the fact that they would work with us is somewhat of a miracle because they're working in the pharmaceutical space, certifying products, doing really high level research and development. Just the fact that they would take the time and actually have us as a client is really a testament to that they also know that this product is something different. Matter of fact, very few people know this, but they didn't have the ability to even test for redox signaling. And so we had to give them our test protocol so that they could build a
Wow.
test around that and test our product to our standards. It's really, they're great to work with. Like I said, it's highly reputable. And just the fact that they're validating a dietary supplement gives credibility to our product.
I've heard that they are an organization that has PhDs, this incredible experience on staff. I think that that is absolutely amazing that we are partnering with them and that we actually had to write this protocol. You know, when we think about Asea as an organization, not just a product, but what we have been able to do as an organization to kind of broaden healthcare and this laboratory and Dermatest over in Germany, you know, we're bringing such awareness to these organizations. Has that been your experience as you've worked with companies like BioAgilytix and Dermatest? Maybe tell us a story about some of the feedback that they've given as they've become more familiar with these products and this technology.
Yeah, oftentimes when we use an independent lab, they don't get the results they expect because they've never tested a product like this. So it's very eye-opening for them. They'll often ask us questions about the manufacturing process. How are we coming up with this product? How we test it? That's a common question. But one of the challenges with having such a unique product, and we see this as we market this product all over the world, is oftentimes foreign governments and their regulatory bodies, they're not sure how to classify Asea Redox. And so that leads to a challenge or two internationally. So being in the United States, we really have a huge advantage because this product has such a long history. People understand what it is from a regulatory standpoint. They know how we test it. We have a long history here. So you're in the best market, and because it's definitely the easiest one to do business here in the US.
Yay. You know, Scott, I'm so grateful that you would come on tonight and share a little bit about who you are and your background and more about the Redox Center. It's been really, really great to hear about the capacity and everything that we do to protect this technology and this proprietary process. And again, you know, I hear so often, you know, salt water from Salt Lake City. And you mentioned right as you started that you were a big skeptic, right? How do you feel about the product today?
Well, that's the amazing thing is I can 100% with total conviction tell you that I do take the product every day, 4 ounces in the morning, 4 ounces in the evening, a very active lifestyle. I do know the product works from very personal experience, but I think it helped being skeptical. It helped me to really try to understand the process, to really get involved with the testing, and just shake my head every time I saw those test results and say, this shouldn't be happening. So definitely, I believe in what we do. I think we do have a mission that we can share this product. And the amazing thing is you can meet people all over the world and you can truly change their life. And it's really more of a conviction than I've ever had, more than day one in year 7, something that I truly believe in.
And in fact, your daughter is a big fan of the product, right?
Yeah, she's actually in college now, and she's a track athlete and has experienced great benefits from it. My whole family uses the product. There's probably not a day that goes by I don't bring product home. That's the advantage of making the product. So I have an unlimited supply, but truly a difference maker, not just in my life, but the life of my family.
Scott, can you imagine going a single day without these products?
I can't. And believe me, I go all over the world and I have my Asea in the suitcase, so I don't go anywhere without it.
Me too. It's worth checking a bag just so that you can bring your Asea with you. Absolutely. Scott, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. We're so grateful for everything that you do, for your team. For those that are watching tonight, you know, you manage one of the most important parts of this process with the technology, but I would say that you also oversee the most important part, which is the people that are helping our incredible associates fulfill this mission. So without your team headed by Sandy Mott, without your team there at the Redox Center, I don't know where we would be. So thank you for your tireless hours and work, and please thank your team for all of those that are watching tonight on behalf of everybody. A very grateful corporate team and a very grateful Asea field. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.